Serial City Chronicles is a podcast focusing on past and present crimes in Battle Creek, Michigan, the heart of the nation's leading cereal production companies. As a resident of the town myself, I will take you beyond the smells of Fruity Pebbles in the air and bring awareness to the unfortunate crimes of this small town I call home. Hey, creatures! Whether you're tuning in from your car, office, or even your bed, I am glad that you are here. I am Kayla Davis, and you're now listening to Serial City Chronicles. Let's dive into today's story. Welcome back, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to episode 6 of Serial City Chronicles. I want to remind you all to follow along on our social media pages as well. You can find the podcast on Facebook and TikTok currently. Also, if you could follow, subscribe, and rate Serial City Chronicles wherever you get your podcasts, that would be super helpful. 5-star reviews can help push the podcast out to more listeners. I appreciate your help and support. We aren't time traveling very far today, only back to 2023. However, I'd still like to find out what Americans may have been experiencing just 2 years ago. If you have forgotten, 2023 was the year Alec Baldwin shot a fellow cast member on the set of the movie Rust. This led to a huge investigation and the world left in confusion. All charges would be dismissed in this case. Our president, Donald Trump, made history yet again when he was indicted by a grand jury. In the summer of 2023, the world watched in complete captivation as a submarine raced to the wreckage of the Titanic, only to disappear and all on board would never be heard from again. Lastly, Barbie and Super Mario Bros. Topped the charts for movies that year. On the radio, you would hear Last Night by Morgan Wallen playing over and over again. This song was number 1 for the year. 2023 really doesn't seem that long ago to me, because the reality is, it was only 2 short years ago. 2 years ago that another family was ripped apart by the senseless behavior of criminals in Battle Creek, Michigan. Serial City, as many Americans know us, as Post and Kellogg's cereals are headquartered here. I remember this crime vividly, as our victim is young, and it truly shocked my small town of Battle Creek. So let's find out who the world lost on that fateful day in February of 2023. February 17th, 2023 to be exact, was a frigid day, and it was still wintertime here in Michigan. This day would have had temperatures dropping just below 25 degrees in the early morning and overnight hours. On this day, Jack Snyder was attending his girlfriend's birthday party right here in town. The party would end around midnight, and he would hop in his vehicle and head home. Unfortunately, Jack would never make it home, and his parents would be awoken in the middle of the night to devastating news. Now, before we find out what happened that night, we are going to get to know Jack Snyder. Jack was a senior at Battle Creek Central High School in 2023. He had previously been a part of the marching band and the swim team in school. However, his true love and passion was the game of soccer. His friends and family enjoyed cheering him on as he played the sport that he loved. Jack was born on August 28, 2005, to his parents Kevin and Teresa Snyder. He was a beloved brother who enjoyed spending time with his siblings. Jack was described as charismatic, lighthearted, and very funny. It was said over and over again that Jack Snyder cared about other people and he had a huge heart. During his time at Battle Creek Central High School, Jack was part of the National Honor Society, the American Red Cross, and the Link Crew. Jack was an active member in his school and in his community. He had plans to finish the EMT program at Kellogg Community College while applying at Grand Valley State University. KCC is a small college here in Battle Creek, and GVSU is in Grand Rapids, Michigan, for those who aren't local. Jack had big plans with a bright future. Unfortunately, his big heart and caring about others is what brought those hopes and dreams to a tragic end. Now, on that February evening, after Jack Snyder left his girlfriend's birthday party, he was heading home around midnight. While passing through Battle Creek Avenue, he noticed 2 of his classmates on the side of the road. As I mentioned, it was around 25 degrees, and it was evident they were cold and may need a ride. So Jack would decide to pull over and help his classmates out of the extreme cold and get them to where they were heading. He would immediately regret that decision. As Jack pulled over to the side of the road, the two classmates had another plan in mind. They would instead try to steal Jack Snyder's car that night. An intense struggle for the keys would ensue. 2 gunshots would go off during the struggle between the 3 boys. Jack would fall to the ground, and blood would pool along the street next to his body. The 2 boys responsible for the shooting fled in Jack's car in the direction of Capitol Avenue Southwest. 2 gunshots in the middle of a neighborhood wouldn't go unnoticed. The first call to the Battle Creek Police Department came in around 12:01 a.m. that February night. This call to police reported the gunshots, and they also believed they saw a gunshot victim. By 12:11 a.m., police were on scene and making the grim discovery of Jack's body. Unfortunately, Jack Snyder was pronounced dead at the scene. The police would now have to alert his family that their teenage son had been murdered. After the family was alerted, an immediate investigation and appeal to the public would take place. The police asked for the community's help in identifying a suspect through eyewitness accounts and doorbell camera footage. Luckily, police would receive exactly the help they needed. It was reported that 2 male individuals were seen fleeing the scene after the gunshots. One male was witnessed wearing a black and red jacket with long, messy hair. The other male was described wearing a black jacket with white patches on it and a ski mask-style winter hat. With the numerous tips police received, they were able to track the stolen car's movements and eventually uncover the names of their 2 suspects. Justice Chimner, age 14, and Dewan Estes, age 13, were the 2 suspects identified by the Battle Creek Police Department. Now the search was on to track down and arrest the 2 people responsible for Jack Snyder's senseless murder. On February 19th, just 2 days after the murder, police executed multiple search warrants to arrest the 2 teens. After checking multiple addresses, Justice Chimner was located inside of a car near Jackson Street and Bedford Road here in Battle Creek. The 14-year-old was taken into custody with no issue, and a firearm connected to the murder was also uncovered in the car with Chimner. That same day, later in the evening, the second suspect would turn himself in to the Battle Creek Police Department. He was accompanied by his parents because, remember, Dewan Estes is only 13 years old. Just 2 days into the murder investigation, the police have arrested 2 suspects and charged them both with the murder. Now police would build their case against these 2 teenagers. During the interrogation and evidence uncovering, the boys' phones were confiscated and analyzed. It was quickly discovered this crime was not one of opportunity, but a premeditated plan gone terribly, terribly wrong. You see, these 2 teenagers had a plan to steal a car. In return, they would be paid for that car. This was all uncovered via an app we all know pretty well for being discreet and secretive. That app was Snapchat, and it had all the police needed to see. A Snapchat user by the name of Spaz made the deal with these barely teenagers. Steal a car, and he would pay them. Jack Snyder just happened to offer the wrong 2 people a ride that day. Now police have uncovered a 3rd suspect, and they were determined to find out who this Spaz person was. But we will get to that a little later. Let's find out what happened to the actual murderers first. It was uncovered during the investigation that Chimner is the one who shot Jack Snyder and killed him. This admission from the suspect and the Snapchat evidence would be the key components in piecing together what actually happened on February 17, 2023. Sadly, there is not much more of an explanation to this awful crime. 2 young boys wanted money. A man offered them money for a stolen car. The boys tried to steal a car, and it was more difficult than they had anticipated. The unfortunate result was 1 dead teenager and 2 kids who just ruined a lot of people's lives, including their own. So for the murder of 17-year-old Jack Snyder, Justice Chimner, whom was 14 at the time, was charged as an adult and pleaded guilty to first-degree murder in December of 2024. A few months later, he was sentenced to 35 to 60 years in prison with a credit of 743 days already served. Dewan Estes, whom was 13 at the time of the crime, was not the one who actually pulled the trigger that night. Due to this, his murder charge was dropped. However, he was charged for the carjacking, and he accepted a plea deal with this charge. Estes received an adult juvenile sentence and is under state supervision in a juvenile facility. He will remain here until he is 18 years old, and he will be undergoing a review every 90 days. Judge Hallisey made it clear that if his reviews were not positive, a longer adult prison sentence could follow. Now let's circle back to the Snapchat evidence with someone by the name of Spaz. With the help of Snapchat and the tracking of IP addresses, police were able to turn that screen name into a real name. The person the young teenagers had been communicating with was a 20-year-old man by the name of Marcus Parsons. The police uncovered a trail of evidence that proved premeditation in the murder of Jack Snyder. Marcus Parsons was making a monetary deal with Chimner and Estes to steal a car for him. Even though he was not there when the murder took place, the police were set on prosecuting this man in some way as well. In January of 2025, the Battle Creek Police Department's efforts would pay off. They arrested Marcus Parsons and charged him with felony murder. Unfortunately, with this case being so current, there are no more updates to Marcus Parsons' charge or impending sentence. As of July 2025, Justice Chimner is in prison, Dewan Estes is in a juvenile detention center, and Marcus Parsons is being held in jail awaiting his trial. The senseless acts of these three individuals left a family destroyed and a city in mourning. Even if you didn't know Jack Snyder personally, this one hurt and you felt it. At the end of the day, a child was murdered by two other children, and that's just a tough reality to live in. My heart goes out to the family, friends, classmates, and loved ones of Jack Snyder, a young soul who had a lot of plans and dreams in this big world. If you're ever in Battle Creek, there is a memorial for Jack near where his body was found. The memorial is located on the corner of Battle Creek Avenue and Capitol Avenue Southwest. It should be easier to locate now because as of June 2025, this intersection was renamed Jack Snyder Way. I myself pass this every day on my commute, and he was loved by so many. That is clear. Jack Snyder did not die in vain. His family made sure of that. Battle Creek Central High School created a scholarship fund dedicated to remembering Jack. Also, most importantly, the legal system took a strong look at the juveniles' access to firearms and also charging juveniles as adults in violent crimes. I'd now like to share a clip from an interview that Jack Snyder's parents did with News Channel 3 after their 17-year-old son was violently taken from them.
I'm definitely angry. But, I mean, I guess that's to be expected. But, yeah, I'm mad at the whole situation. I mean, there's a lot of things. Those boys shouldn't even been on the street. They should not have been on the street with their past records. You know, they should have been locked up, and if they was locked up, Jack would still be here.
Had they been held accountable to their prior actions, then it would have never got to this.
Shouldn't have been able to have a gun, period.
No, they should. No, they shouldn't. I mean, we all have CPLs, but we're all trained on how to use them. You know, and I feel that if there was more people that were trained properly with firearms and people chose to defend themselves when these things happen,
maybe people wouldn't be so quick to just pull out a gun and start shooting.
yeah. I mean, there's places all over to go do training. I mean, Freedom Firearms is the closest. I mean, they do a really good class. You know, there's CPL training, there's advanced CPL training, there's tactical training to know how to use those weapons if you need to. I mean, for a child to be running around with a firearm, that's not, no, I mean, it's not even cool. It's not. It's irresponsible, for one. I mean, when we were 13 and 14-year-old We fought. We weren't scared of getting beat up. That's just what we did. Now the kids are scared. They have no accountability whatsoever. You know, these kids, they in some stupid way, somehow probably justify this thing. And I tell you, I hope they rot. I hope they rot. I hope they stare at a cell every day for the rest of their natural lives. I really do. They took our son, her brother, Liam's brother, for something stupid. Yeah, I'm angry. We're all angry.
Can't replace them.
No, you can't. You know, as a family, we're going to see to it that them boys never walk the street again. You know, some people may think that's harsh. I don't. At least if they're in prison, their families can go see them, hug them. We can't. We don't have that option. We got a grave site that we can go see, or a memorial. That's what we have. And if, you know, people think that's harsh, then sorry about your luck.
I don't think it's harsh.
They still have their kids.
Now, the one comment I'd like to follow that up with is you are not too harsh. And as a parent myself, I think most people could put themselves in your shoes and say a lot worse things. Now, the full interview is on YouTube, and I highly recommend listening to what his family had to say. It is powerful and it is moving. Another innocent life ended, and another family learning to live with their grief. Again, my heart goes out to all who knew and who loved Jack Snyder. Now, this was the most recent case that I have done, and probably the one with the least amount of detail. It was pretty cut and dry, sadly. Luckily, the community banded together when the news of the murder broke, and the police were able to bring the murderers to justice very quickly. That means there was not much of the crime to share, so I tried to share as much as I could about Jack Snyder as well. Now, we always need a palate cleanser, and today I have a new business, even to me. Happy Faces is a new face painting company right here in Battle Creek, Michigan. The owner, Victoria, specializes in fun, creative, and professional face and body painting. Whether you're throwing a birthday party, hosting a work event, or even looking for local vendors, face painting is the best addition. Reach out to Victoria today and let her color your world, one smile at a time. You can find Happy Faces on Facebook, and I tagged her on my page as well. Now, I usually end here, but surprise, I have added a new addition to the episodes. I am going to add current events after each case we discuss. I want to keep our community vigilant and active in helping the Battle Creek Police Department solve crimes while also being in the know of Serial City. I also have had a lot of requests for more current crimes. So with that being said, let's find out what's been going on in Battle Creek the first half of July. Unfortunately, shootings seem to be the topic of conversation in the creek lately. On July 5th, there was a shooting overnight on Hubbard Street. 2 people were shot, a 25-year-old male from Charlotte, Michigan, and a 17-year-old local. This shooting is still under investigation, and both victims are still alive. A few days later, on July 9th, another shooting would occur. On South 22nd Street in Battle Creek, 31-year-old Travis Robinson was shot and killed during an altercation. 36-year-old Teron Stevenson has been arrested in connection with the murder. Details have not been released yet as to the motive for this shooting. I will update as the investigation and trial unravels. On the same day, July 9th, police would respond to yet another shooting. On South Burge Street here in Battle Creek, a 23-year-old male was fatally shot. No arrests have been made, and no details regarding the shooting have been released either. The Battle Creek Police Department is asking for the community's help with this shooting specifically. If you know any details, please speak up and give this family answers. If you have any information at all related to any of these crimes, it can be reported to the Battle Creek Police Department. I will list that phone number as well as the Silent Observer number in the show notes and on my social media pages. Remember, you can stay anonymous. It's important that we stick together as a community, and if you see something that is wrong, say something. We all have a duty to protect ourselves and each other. Well, that's all I have for today. Be sure to subscribe to Serial City Chronicles and also follow along with me on social media. Thank you for tuning in to episode 6, and I will see you in 2 weeks for more true crime in Battle Creek, Michigan. Be safe and be kind.